Daniela with Bestie Life, and today I get to talk to Kristin Zeier of That One Thing. She shares her story as a single working mom, growing a business and achieving her goals and dreams through goal setting and following through and keeping those daily promises to herself. So thanks so much for joining us. Hi, this is Daniela with Bestie Life, and today I'm with Kristin Zeier from That One Thing. Hi, Kristin. How are you?
Hi, Daniela. I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
Good. Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm so excited for us to get to chat. For those of us who haven't met Kristin yet, she and I met through Clubhouse. If you haven't heard of that app either, it's a fantastic new networking app to be able to have conversations and meet new people and all of that. So if you haven't checked it out, definitely do that. But Kristin, if you want to share a little bit with everybody about who you are personally and professionally.
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, I'm going to kind of start with how we met on Clubhouse and back it up from there. So, I am someone who is currently working in a 9-to-5 job, and I work as a group employee benefits broker. I'm doing that full time, but I'm also working on making the leap from the 9-to-5 world to the online business world. And so over the last few months, I've really realized I'm missing that whole community piece, like of meeting other people who are also venturing into the world of entrepreneurship or online business or solopreneurship, and just not knowing the people who are also doing that kind of created this longing for that. So I'm really happy about Clubhouse. I'm really happy that we met through there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just to back it up a little bit, I also have a son. He's 15. I had him when I was young. I was 18 when I had him. So I have been just navigating through that world throughout my 20s. I went back to school and got my bachelor's degree, and I just got involved in a lot of different activities. And then I ventured into the corporate world, and I started working in there, and it was great because it was nice to have that stability that the corporate job gave me for my son. But over the past few years, I've known that I've wanted to venture out and do my own thing in the world of business. I have a degree in business, so I love business. I've always been very fascinated by all the moving pieces, but I've also always known that I want to go out and create my own someday. And so with my son being a little bit older, and I'm just honestly, it's weird. I'm 34, but I'm thinking about like that next phase of my life after my son is an adult and on his own, and I'm not having any more children. So I'm like, okay, like this whole new world is going to open up for me that I haven't really had as an adult because I had him so young. So I decided I just have to go for what I truly want to be doing and create like that life with intention that I love. And then at the same time, I'm really excited that I have the opportunity of being the example for him of truly going after, a life that you love with intention, and all the opportunities that we have to create anything we want in today's world with all of our resources that we have. So yeah, that's, how I spend my time.
It sounds like you've been such an amazing role model his whole life, going back to school, still doing all, the things that you set out to do, and not being like, well, I can only do this one thing if I have a son or things like that you can still go get your degrees, get your job, and do all the things you want to do. And that doesn't have to be your reason not to, or your obstacle or anything like that. Definitely, I think being able to have that insight to see that, you wanted that connection with people. I think so many people in general, whether they're a business owner or not, working from home right now has been so isolating and changed the way we connect and have that camaraderie in our workspace. So whether you're a solopreneur as part of a company, I think being able to connect and reach out to people, you've shown that you're not going to let these obstacles of being at home or other things hold you back from pushing yourself forward and doing the things you want to do. That's fantastic.
Yeah. And actually, I think that anytime there's a disruption or a change in course of your life path. So with 2020, with the pandemic, obviously that disrupted probably everyone's routine to some degree or another. And I just try to think of it as an opportunity, instead of it being, instead of focusing on what I'm not able to do anymore, it's okay, I have a new opportunity to do things in a different way. And I think, just going back to the Clubhouse thing, for example, the fact that that app has come out at the time that it has is so perfect because I think so many of us are craving that connection and that interaction that we really haven't been able to have on the same level, for going on a whole year now, which is just crazy to think
I
about.
know. Absolutely. So can you tell us a little bit about that one thing?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am launching an online course and a podcast this spring in 2021. It's called That One Thing. And the concept of it is to empower women with the mindset, energy, process, and system, tactics, and techniques to make that one thing that they've always dreamed of a reality. So when you think about what is that one thing I've always wanted to do, but maybe I felt like I didn't have the confidence to do it or I don't have the time to do it, both of those things are not true. And so maybe you don't have the organization or you don't think you know how. Well, every single thing you can teach yourself how to do really in today's world. And so just empowering women with all of those angles to put it together and make that one thing a reality is the goal. So I'm very excited about that.
Because I think, you're helping to take that fear, which is a lot of times the obstacle that keeps so many people from attempting that dream they've had, that one thing, to help remove those barriers, those limiting beliefs, those fears that they have of what they can't do to achieve what they want to do is just such a gift. And it's so amazing. And I think you're really going to be able to make an impact on so many people.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. I'm really excited about it. I know that there is a lot of interest in just goal setting, and there's obviously a lot of failure people experience when they set goals, and just helping people understand why that is. And one thing I think to keep in mind is that, when you set a goal, it's 80% mindset and 20% tactics on whether or not you will reach that goal. And so really focusing on that mindset piece is so key. And I think it's something that is missed so often.
Absolutely. Absolutely. People just focus on the skills. I need to learn how to create this, do this, without thinking about those inner thoughts they have consciously or not, that kind of then whether make them procrastinate, keep them from moving forward or whatever it is. And so that's great that you include that part of it.
Yeah. And when I think about where, what truly has driven me from a very deep level to want to do this is that I grew up in a household where my parents had the most self-limiting beliefs ever. And they're very nice, but they just always had these really big limiting beliefs. And it always made me think, why do you think that you can't do that? And so I've always kind of taken the opposite approach, I think, because of that, to where I think, well, why can't I do that? And so that I really encourage women to think of, goal setting in that way instead of I can't do that. It's, well, why can't I do that? Actually, I can do that. It's really reframing the whole approach and perspective around it.
Right. When I was younger, well, and even still now, my phrase was watch me, more like, if you don't think I can, watch me, and I'll show you that I can do it.
Yeah. Tell me I can't do it and I will make sure that I do it and prove you wrong.
Exactly. So as part of too, helping women find the bliss in their busy, as a busy working mom, what has been your bliss? How do you find your happiness, your time for you, that peace in your day?
Yeah, so I am an introvert, and so I know enough about myself at this point that I have to feed my energy in the way that an introvert needs to recharge. So first and foremost, I need alone time, probably every day, and I'm a pretty independent person. And then along with that, it's just, I have kind of my go-to, not a real playbook, but I have, some different things that I will do to really kind of fill my cup back up. So whether that be meditation, I've really gotten into that in 2020. Journaling, I like to do. I have this great bathtub that's big and I just love to fill it up and soak with Epsom salt sometimes. I would think more of those are more self-care things. I love to cook. So if I am cooking at home, it's a nourishing meal. Yeah, I just love being able to do that and just, feed my body and my soul through that. I love listening to podcasts and audiobooks. I have to continuously do that throughout the week because that just helped me so much. And then also just another thing is that when I set an intention or a commitment on my calendar, I have to follow through on that. And to me, that's one of the biggest things that I do to stay balanced and to kind of find my bliss, because even if I don't think I want to be doing this thing right now, like for example, it's Saturday afternoon and I might want to, maybe go relax and just kind of lounge around, but there are other things I want to get done. And so honoring that, I know is going to make me happier in the long run. So just making sure I'm staying committed to what I have set out to do.
That's awesome. And I think we talked earlier, I kind of mentioned I'd seen a Mel Robbins quote where she talked about how sometimes keeping those promises to yourself is part of your self-love and your self-care, even if it's things you don't think you want to do at the time, whether it's getting up at 5:36 a.m. when your alarm goes off or whatnot. By keeping those promises, those goals and intentions that you set for yourself really will help empower and build you up throughout the day.
Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
And I was going to say too, I love that you mentioned cooking. I think so many times, like when people think about self-care, that it's just like the journaling, the meditation, the baths, but it's also how, what you eat, cooking. Sometimes that can be such a connecting experience if you're cooking with family or friends. There's so many other things that can go into what fills you back up. Even as an introvert myself as well, it doesn't always have to be alone things, even though that's definitely a huge part of it, but that doesn't mean you don't like to be social as part of what makes you happy too. Whether it's watching funny shows or connecting with friends, or like you said, even just bringing in outside information through podcasts and books and those kind of things. It's a bigger picture than just one or two things. It's your whole day feeds into that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm a big believer in also not necessarily keeping a rigid ritual schedule for your day. I think that it's really beneficial to, have kind of your go-tos, but pick from that whatever you feel inspired or drawn to do that day. Because I have, probably 15 different things I can think of, exercise is what I didn't mention, or taking walks outside, or yoga and different forms of exercise, or hiking. Yeah. Those things are big for me too. And I'm not going to do every single one of those things every single day, obviously.
No. And you were just sharing, it's like negative wind chill by you right now. It's like freezing cold. And so absolutely, it's going to be a little bit tougher. Those of us who are in colder Northeast climates or whatever.
Right. Yeah. So just, having that, really identifying what are the things that fill me back up. And then it's kind of more exciting. You get to choose. You have the freedom to choose. What do I want to do today of these things that would really restore my energy or just relax me, or whatever it is that you need to do.
So to kind of be a little vulnerable for a second, if I could ask, what are some things people think you have together, but maybe you don't, or you feel like you're still working on? Because I think, we all have those things that we know we're still working towards.
Yeah, I think that people, they often will be like, oh my gosh, you're doing so many things and you stay so organized and you're always such a positive person. And that's really great. And it's interesting because from my perspective, I'm like, oh my gosh, my life, I'm trying to do all these things at once and it feels a little bit chaotic at times. And I think the reason that I can project so much positive energy is because I spend so much time working through thoughts that maybe aren't so positive or negative things that come up. And it's really important to me that I kind of put a positive energy out to those around me. But it doesn't mean that I just feel that way all the time, or that that's how I'm feeling internally all the time. It's very different, I think, from what people perceive than what I truly am experiencing and feeling on a day-to-day basis. And there's a lot of self-work that goes into that.
I love that you say that, because I think sometimes people assume if they see a positive outlook or perspective that you're not acknowledging or ignoring some of the harder things that are going on. And to say, that you're still doing that self-work, even if that's not what you put out there or what you lead with, is good to know, so that people don't think, well, I just always have to be happy. Like, it doesn't mean you ignore what's not great. You just choose what you put out there.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that. It's like, trust me, I am seeing all of the negativity that's going on, but I am also taking that in and processing it, and then choosing with intention to, what type of energy I'm putting back out there into the world.
So with self-care, and finding that bliss, I believe being grateful and showing gratitude for things is a big part of where we get some of that. what would you say are your top 3 things that you're grateful for, or what I like to call your 3 Gs?
So definitely my son and my boyfriend. That is a huge factor. I would have to say at this point in my life, my house, we just moved into this beautiful house and in 2020
Congrats.
actually, and
Yeah.
it's been so exciting and it's just the most beautiful house I've ever lived in, and it brings me so much happiness and joy. So that, and then I would say I'm really grateful for just the opportunity to be able to live in a time where we have the internet and all of the resources that we do to create all of these things that we're creating, and that really energizes me. And I think about that all the time. I mean, if I was born like 50 years ago, it would be very different, you know?
Yeah.
And so I'm just so happy and grateful that we have these amazing smartphones and Wi-Fi and the internet and
Zoom, you know, as much as
Zoom.
I hate being on it all the time, it's like it really has been such a lifesaver for connections with family and friends and things like that.
Yeah, and just all of the information. I mean, we can learn anything we want to. So I love it.
And definitely, you know, when you mentioned your home and things like that, which it is beautiful, you know, I think that's another part of self-care people don't think about is your space. And it doesn't have to be the Taj Mahal kind of thing, but I think the space we're in, and if we love it and we feed from it, it can really be huge as far as like just again creating that energy, that sense of calm and peace without having to actively always do things when it comes to maintaining our self-care and our bliss. So that's great that you almost kind of like pre-recognize that just where you're at physically helps you feel good.
Absolutely. I love just the effect that your physical surroundings and space can have on you. I actually, as a side note, I went to school for interior design for like 2 years in my 20s. Yeah. And I don't really talk about it that much. It was a career path I didn't ultimately want to pursue, but I love just how creating your space to really complement whatever it is that you want to create is so amazing. Yeah. And actually my current office that I'm in, I just moved my home office. I moved it from a different room in our house to this one. And now that I'm starting fresh, I was like, okay, I'm going to be really cautious about what I do in here because I really want this to be a space of creativity and inspiration. And to be quite honest, I don't want to work from this space in my corporate job. I want to reserve this for my business that I'm working on building and, you know, just always have this as a space of that creative inspiration. So I am really starting to dial in on how the space, like the physical space in my house can affect me in different ways.
Yeah. And, you know, just hearing you talk too, you can definitely hear like your intention and the goal setting that you talk about as your business. It's part of who you are. Like you do it across all the areas of your life, which is so great that you think first, you set the goal and the plan for what your space is going to feel like, what you're moving towards in different directions. So I think to really, people can see you lead by example, you live what you talk about, which is great.
Yes, I'm so glad that you identified that because it truly is a huge part in creating this course is I sat down and I thought about all the things that go into setting a goal and what have I personally struggled with in the past and what has worked for me. And then I do talk to other women about it and get their feedback in as well. But I want every single module and every aspect of this course to be truly something that I have experimented with myself so that I can truly be a testament of why and how this works and how it fits into that puzzle piece of accomplishing your goal. And I don't want to make it sound like it has to be overly complicated, but it does need to be intentional and that there does need to be a mindful aspect of it. And so, yeah, I mean, I truly want to be the product of my own course.
Right. No, and I think you definitely are. You lead by example, which is great. And there'll be links in the show notes as far as for you guys to all be able to find Kristin, find that one thing. Kind of one more quick fun question. You know, like if you had more time, unlimited resources, what would you do?
Yeah, I would travel more. I love traveling. I would just go to all of the places. And when it's winter here in Wisconsin, I would go to all of the warm places.
Yeah. I saw this meme once, or it was a quote or something like, if travel were free, you'd never see me again. Like, I do
Oh
love
yeah,
that as well.
definitely. Yep.
Well, that's great. Well, thank you so much, Kristin. And thank you everyone for listening. Like I said, check out That One Thing. Keep an eye out for her course and her podcast coming out this spring, and connect with her, whether it's on Clubhouse or social media. All the links will be below. And I hope you have a great day. Thanks, Kristin.
Thank you so much, Daniela. Have a good day.
Please take a minute, head on over and leave me a 5-star review so that more people can see and hear Kristin and her story, as well as head on over to my website, www.bestdlife.com. Take the self-care screening and let's get you started on your journey. Thanks again. Bye-bye.